I like that. Well, you like that new track yet, or what?
I am feeling that tone. I definitely like that. It's a little bit edgier. Right?
A little. It's still Xavier top floor. It's still our guy. It's still our guy.
Dope, by the way, who is super dope. Absolutely, he is.
So,
no
change it up a little, but we're in a different place.
Mm-hmm.
But not for long.
Mm-hmm.
So since you're hosting, you're hosting, although we're on a couple of different channels. We're on your YouTube, we're on my YouTube. So people are probably wondering what the hell is going on.
We had some cosmetic stuff and some things that are going on within Players' Choice that are getting handled, and in the process of that stuff getting handled, we're still going to be here for you guys, and we are still down with Players' Choice, and we still do our thing with Players' Choice. So we're only here temporarily, even though this is where we started. We are down with Players' Choice, and we will be back over there in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from Monday, we will be back over there, and we will be back in effect. And
check the banner. PC back January 15th.
We will be back in effect. Absolutely. Now, remember, we're just getting some things, some cosmetic things handled over at PC, and we'll be right back in effect. You don't have to worry about that. We will be right back in effect.
I think it's just a matter of PC collectively getting those New Year's resolutions in order. Yeah. Getting the New Year's resolutions in order, but let's be honest, I couldn't. Could you imagine not being on for 2 weeks?
No.
That's crazy. Crazy. I couldn't imagine doing it.
No, we can't leave y'all like that. We can't do that.
Yeah, and it's all good. Just FYI, it's all good. Like you had your chat, I believe.
Tomorrow, actually.
Oh, tomorrow. Okay,
tomorrow.
It's all good thing. I had mine today. And I listen. You know, when a lot of times you say, "I think you should do this," and they're like, "Yeah, this is what's up." Right? Salute to Ticket. What's up, Ticket?
What's up, brother?
I caught Ticket's new show. I caught Ticket's new show yesterday too. That was good. So salute to Ticket. Thank you for letting me know, because that was dope. With I think his name was Chris Copeland, I believe was his guest.
He ain't say nothing to me about it.
Oh, my bad.
He ain't say nothing to me about it. He just got a show, and they ain't even say, yo, chill, my boy. I got something going on. Come check me out. He ain't say nothing to me about it.
It was good.
But
anyway. Most people like me more than you. I think that's just a given. So
I mean, if we're being honest, you know, I do have that. I do have that. I do have that fight face. You know?
See, I'm always smiling. Yeah, see,
Tone got the more approachable look. I got that, fight face. So
I see.
Just you ain't roughing me up, man. You ain't roughing me up, Ticket. You gonna put something out there?
I purposely didn't give you this see-through cup because I know you get jealous. When
you know what's in there. Just so you folks know, you already know what's in the cup, right? All right, you know what's in the cup, and Tone specifically brings that on there to irritate me. He know he does.
Yeah. Well, listen, I told you that next time I'm in Florida, I'm buying you one, and then we'll be fine. But you drink your Gatorade, keep those electrolytes up. For those that are asking about Haley, Haley's working. But we've done shows without Haley before. We got a list of topics. I want to start off with can we start off with your top 10?
I don't know. Can we talk?
Let's do it. Oh.
I guess that means no.
I hit the wrong button. But I'm going to do it anyways. So our boy Jay here on this like smaller platform called Bleacher Report, and they got you doing some lives, and they got you talking about today. You did this was today. This is from today.
Yes, this was from today.
From today. Your NBA power rankings. So let's go through your power rankings, and I'll tell you which ones are correct and which ones are wrong. Make people,
now you're more fluent.
Make them more fluent.
Let's do that. Absolutely, let's do that. So, if I look at my power rankings, I go off of. Of course, I'm gonna have to go off what's going on right now. Right? We got to go off what's going on right now. We got to go off of what teams look like right now. So at number 10, I had the Miami Heat, and the reason why I had the Miami Heat because nothing's changed with them offensively. Well, Jay, what do you mean nothing's changed with them offensively? Last year, they had the worst offense in the league. They played at one of the slowest paces in the league. This year, they're 26th in the league in offense, and they're still at the bottom of the league in pace. So it's not that they got better; they just suck less offensively. That's all that is. However, what also hasn't changed is they're still one of the best defensive teams in the game. That's still there. And Bam is a 22-10 guy this season. He's having a career year. Tone, I think that now we got peak Bam. That's what I'm thinking about, Tone. I think we got peak Bam, and I think that these 20-10 seasons, right? These 20-10 seasons, I think you can get about three or four more of those with Bam. They got a really good rotation down there in Miami. So I like what they're doing, that they're in the top 10. And number 9, I got Sacramento. Sacramento, one of the best offenses in the game. They still play at a top 10 pace. They still in the top 10 in the league in points. The problem that I'm having, Tone, is over their last couple of games, I mean, their last 7 wins, they're giving up 130 a game. You can't stop nobody. I mean, you can't win games when you're giving up 130 a game. As good as you are offensively, you can't win when you give up 130 a game. It's not happening.
Okay, let's stop there, because I already disagree with 10 and 9. Because I'm just looking at the list and I don't see these other guys. So I want to just ask you a question about 11 and 12. I guess for you, who are probably my 9 and 10. Dallas.
Yep.
Orlando.
That's who Dallas, Orlando, and the Knicks are right outside of this top 10. Those are the 3 teams.
Now, where do you have Indiana?
I got Indiana around 16.
16. Wow.
Okay. They as good as they are, I don't think that I think the difference between them and a team like Sacramento is Sacramento has more firepower offensively. Indiana has Tyrese Halliburton.
No, that's fair. I was just curious how low you have them, because I think I have them at 14, so it's not that far off. But okay, but I got Dallas, and I got Orlando in my top 10. I have Sacramento at 11, Miami at 12. And the reason I have Miami at 12 is because it's a power ranking right now. And I think Miami did this last year too, where they don't take the regular season as seriously. But I agree with you that they're taking it more seriously this year than last year.
Right.
But I believe that they don't take it seriously. So I'm not going to rank. I'm not going to give them, rankings based on, I know they're going to step it up in the playoffs, which I do. I know they are. So that's, I would say that's my only 2. So you have my 11 and 12. Sorry, you have my 9-10 at 11 and 12.
Right.
I just have your 9-10. Okay. So that's good. All right. So that takes us to number 8.
Number 8, the Pelicans. And the reason why I'm digging the Pelicans, they won 5 of their last 7 games. They won their last 4 straight. They rolling in that aspect. They're in the top 10 in the league in turnover and forced turnovers, and they lead the league in steals. Tone, you know me. You know how big a deal I think Herb Jones is. I'm a big-time Herb Jones fan. He's one of the best perimeter defenders in the game, and he anchors that defense on the perimeter. And because of that, that's why they do what they do defensively. Offensively, you got a guy in Zion Williamson. You got Brandon Ingram. And one of the main reasons why they are what they are offensively is because of Valanciunas. You got another glass cleaner, right? You got another glass cleaner. You got another guy that mans the boards, holds these teams to 1 possession so they could get out in the open floor. Tone, I really believe that if I could get some health out of Zion Williamson, which I've been getting this year, almost half the season is over. He has not missed that many games. I've been getting health out of him.
He's been playing.
Yes.
But he hasn't been playing what we expected him to play.
Right.
Do you think his listen, I know this or what I think, but I want to ask your opinion. Do you think he's playing? How can I put this? I'm trying to think of the word I'm trying to use. Do you think he's playing a certain way so that he doesn't get hurt? Like, do you think given 85%?
Well, Tone, you know how I feel about getting hurt. If you think you're going to get hurt, you're going to get hurt.
100%.
And he still plays above the rim. He still plays in traffic. So he still does all of those things. I don't think he's playing to get hurt. I don't think he's conserving any energy. I think the problem we have in is when we see him more, those deficiencies he has, they really get exploited, Tone. Like, he doesn't rebound as much as I'd like. He doesn't score from the perimeter. He doesn't really have that type of one-on-one mid-range game where you can see him knock down open shots. The fact that he's on the floor more, it just shines a light on the different aspects of his game that he's deficient in. Defensively, him being an off-ball defender, he's not very good as an off-ball defender. But these are things that can
cautiously.
I don't.
Think he's giving his all, and he's just not as good as he was before.
I think it's
because when he was healthy before, he was a menace, and we were all like, "Damn, we're talking like this guy's going to be an All NBA, et cetera, et cetera." That's not who I'm seeing today.
Well, he's
playing, but I don't see that guy. Do you see that guy?
Well, he's not doing much more from before than he's doing now. The difference is before he took the league by storm because he was playing above the rim and he was healthy. He's not playing above the rim. Hang on for a second. He's still playing above the rim, but in the process of him playing above the rim, we're starting to see the other stuff that he's not good at. So he still plays. He still plays above the rim. He still gets out in transition. He still is a bowling ball coming downhill. He still does those stuff. He still does those things. But he didn't rebound as much as he used to. But that got thrown by the wayside, Tone. The reason why was because we saw him playing above the rim. We saw all the highlights. And we didn't really get to see him as much as we would like. Now we get to see him a lot more. So because we get to see him a lot more, we get to see the stuff that he's not good at. So,
all right.
At number 7, I got the Clippers. And
you just made the list.
Yes, I got the Clippers at number 7.
In my presence, you refer to them as the Braves.
I'm sorry. I've got Buffalo.
Number 7. They're tricking you. They're tricking you.
Whoa. Remember, Tone, what this list is. This list is in January.
Okay, right now. Okay.
Remember, this list is in January. You know me, and you know how I feel about the Clippers. I am not a Clipper guy. But I cannot look past the fact that they won 10 of their last 12 games. They got a top 10 offense, Tone. They got not a top 10 offense. They're right outside the top 10 in offense. I'm sorry. They got a top 10 defense right now. I have to accept that, right? They 8 games over 500 when Kawhi Leonard is in the lineup. Now, with that being said, Tone, Paul George already told us. What did Paul George already tell us? He's not a number 1 on the championship team. He already told us that.
Yeah, we know that already.
Not that we didn't know that already. We already knew that.
Tell us. We knew that already.
He just confirmed it. That's all it was. It was basically like the cops. Like, we already know this. We just need you to confess it. That's all. We already know it. So we already seen James Harden as the lead dog. We seen how far he could take us. And then we seen Russell Westbrook. All right. We seen Russell Westbrook. He's taking his team as the lead dog or as the lead guard to the NBA Finals. However, there's only one guy on this crew, Tone, that has actually gotten it done more than once. And he's the linchpin in all of this. If he holds up, I think they got a shot. But from what I've seen over the last 4 years, there's no evidence to suggest to me that he's going to hold up. They've lost 2 of they lost 2 out of 3 when I think they lost 2 out of 3 when he was out of the lineup with a hip injury. And I try to be more cautious when I'm talking about Kawhi Leonard because Tone, he looks like he doesn't look like the Kawhi Leonard of old, but he doesn't look like an old Kawhi Leonard. He looks like he can still do it. He does look like he can still do a lot of the things that he used to do. He just doesn't look like he could do it for as long as he used to do it.
Listen, I think Kawhi Leonard, when healthy, right, I think we all agree, is a top 10 player in the NBA, or top 5 player in the NBA, right? I think we all agree, offensive, defensively, when he's 100% healthy. But here's the things that I know. I know that Westbrook, can you trust Russell Westbrook to be a linchpin, a role player on a championship team?
That's different.
Haven't seen it. Haven't seen it. Have I seen James Harden as a number 1, number 2, number 3, I don't care, be a piece of a championship team? Well, once, I think they made the finals when he was like 7. And since then, no. We've been disappointed year after year after year in the playoffs. Paul George already told you, I'm not the number 1 on a championship team. So we haven't seen him go to the finals either.
Right.
With Kawhi, And I just finished telling you, when fully healthy, he's a top 5 player in the NBA. But he won his 2 titles, right? I believe, yes, with San Antonio. He won 2, right? He won 2 in San Antonio?
No,
Or
one in San Antonio.
one in San Antonio.
One in
But
San
that was
Antonio,
with a very, very good veteran team that had been together for a long time. That was led, although he was the young guy that brought it all together, maybe, that was led by Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, right?
Right.
He was a major part, finals MVP. I'm not taking it away. But that was a solid core group. He then goes to Toronto. For the record, for those that don't know, who had the number 1 record in the NBA over 5-year span, in the East, number 2 to the Warriors. So had won the most games in the NBA next to the Warriors over that 5-year span. A very, very tight-knit group. He replaces DeMar. He comes in with Danny Green and Marc Gasol. It's not like it was, and they win a chip. So the 2 times I've seen him win, he has had a solid, for lack of a better term, supporting cast who knew their roles, who were very well coached, right? Nick Nurse and Greg Popovich, right? That's how he wins.
Mm-hmm.
What do I know about the Braves? I know that the Braves, do I trust their coaching? Is it a championship caliber coach?
Yes.
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 And I know that I got a bunch of guys who I don't know if I trust.
Wait a minute, Tone. Before you go any further, take the Braves off the table for a second. I just want you to look at the roster. I know that they're the Clippers.
The roster.
I just want you to look. That's what I'm talking. That's where I want you to stay. That's where I want you to stay.
You know what the Braves remind me of? The Braves remind me of the Dallas Cowboys. Check it out. If you take the Cowboys roster from almost any year, star-studded, you put them in any other NFL city, and we're all saying that's a Super Bowl champion. That's a team that has to make it to the Super Bowl. But because they're in Dallas, we go, something's going to happen.
The Cowboys.
But they're the Cowboys, right?
The Cowboys.
That's who the Braves are. If that roster was in any other city, we'd be like, that's an NBA caliber team. That's an NBA championship caliber team.
They were in Phoenix.
Because it's there, we're like, well, and that's why I say don't fall for them. Don't fall for them. Enjoy them now. But that's where they are. Okay. That's number 7.
Yeah. Number 6. Yeah. At number 6, I got the Bucks. And despite the fact that Indiana owns them, yeah.
It's not even in the top 5.
No, I don't. They're not even the best team in their division. Let's start there, Tom. They're not even the best team in the.
Okay, but you got the best team in the league in their division.
Yeah, they're not even the best team in their division. So with that being said, with that being, I'm talking about in the Central Division. They ain't even the best team in the Central Division with Cleveland and Indiana, and they ain't even the best team in that division. But with that being said,
who's better than them in their division?
Indiana. They beat them 4 times already, Tom.
But you have Indiana out of the top 10.
There's a reason why I have that.
You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't have them at 6 and say they're not even the best in their division and have the other team at number 12.
There's a difference. There's a huge difference with this. Here's why, Tone. They have Giannis Antetokounmpo. They've won 9 of their last 12 games.
Yes.
And of the games that they've lost, of their 9 losses that they have, Tone, 4 of them are to Indiana. That's half of their losses. 4 of them are to Indiana.
So who? Oh, geez! I can't believe you just did that.
If you take if you take Indiana off the table, they got the best record in the NBA. The best record in the NBA. If you take Indiana off the table. With that being said, Indiana has a way worse record. They've lost to way more teams. Just because. Remember my 49. I'll give a prime example. My 49ers. I remember my 49ers. I believe it was in 2007. I think it was 2007. I think we finished 6-10 that year. And losing 10 games, we lost. I think we only lost 1 game in the division. That was it. We only lost 1 game in the division. And I think we had lost to the Rams. But we had 10 losses. It was obvious that we weren't that good. And we weren't the caliber of the best team in the division. We were not that good.
But can't you just say that Indiana maybe just has their number?
Right.
They don't match up well against Indiana. So they're still better than them. They just don't match up well against them. Because you can't have them 6. If you have 1-6 and 1-12, I'm immediately thinking
cocaine is a hell of a drug.
If they played Indiana in a playoff series, do they beat Indiana?
If they played them right now, what do you think?
I don't know, Tone. To be honest with you, I can't say with 100% certainty that I'm picking the Milwaukee Bucks to beat Indiana.
Wow.
I can't say with 100% certainty that, they handle them. I can't say that. However, how they fare against the rest of the teams in the NBA, is completely different. I don't know what it is about Indiana. Actually, I do know what it is about Indiana. That's not true. I do know what it is about Indiana. They exploit their lack of perimeter defense. Tyrese Halliburton makes a beeline to Damian Lillard, a straight beeline to him. He does not waste any time. He looks at Damian Lillard like he is a bucket of KFC extra crispy. 100% he does. But that's neither here nor there. They still have the second best record in the Eastern Conference. They've won 9 of their last 12 games. They have done that. And 11 of those games have been against playoff teams. 11 of those games have been against playoff teams. Here's the problem with Milwaukee, though, Tone. Their defense. They're next to last in the league in creating turnovers. They don't create turnovers at all.
Don't tell half of a story. Tell the whole story.
Right.
Their perimeter defense.
Okay, I'm sorry. If they were a better defensive team,
put the blame where it is, right? Put the blame where it is. Damian Lillard and Beasley. Like
Malik Beasley. Yes, Malik Beasley. And I just said it, Tone. Tyrese Halliburton, he seriously looks at Dame Lillard like, this dude has nothing for me. Nothing. He looks at him like, I can exploit him. And he's right.
He's right. Yeah.
He's absolutely right. Damian Lillard is a cone when it comes to Tyrese Halliburton. He may be a cone when it comes to everybody else, too. And I just never really, not paid attention to it, but I just never really said it out loud. But watching him against Tyrese Halliburton, he really can't do anything with Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah.
So their perimeter defense is a huge problem because that's your point of attack. If they were a better team defensively, Tony, we'd be talking about Giannis's Defensive Player of the Year because Giannis has actually been really good this year defensively.
Do you put any of that blame on Coach Griffin?
I do, and the reason why,
defensive coach, right? He comes from the Nick Nurse tree, I guess you could say,
right?
And as a player, he was a defensive player, a dirty work guy, and etc. But there seems to be there's enough stories now where where there's smoke, there's fire, that he might be the issue.
What's up, young fella? What's going on, brother? I can scheme, Tone, but what I can't do is I can't really do anything about personnel because it's not a coincidence that just last season they had one of the better defenses in the game. Add that to the fact, Tone, that this season they have one of the best defenses in the league in the last 5 minutes of the game. So they can hunker down. They have one of the better crunch time defenses in the league. Here's the problem with that. What's leading up to that? That's the $1 million question. So if my 49ers, the last 10 minutes of a game, the last, 5 minutes of a quarter, we're shutting the door on you. Meanwhile, you're scoring the last 7 minutes of the first 7 minutes of the quarter. We can't stop you. That doesn't help at all. That doesn't help at all. And that's kind of what's going on with the Milwaukee Bucks. Their perimeter defense is just garbage. Damian Lillard and Malik Beasley in particular. When you lose Drew Holiday and you lose Grayson Allen, who are going to give you effort on defense, that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, and I think that's where it's going to be. People are going to listen. People are going to be calling for Adrian Griffin's head, but at the same time, it's a lot easier to make a trade and bring in another perimeter defender, I believe, than it is to take the coach out at this point in the season, right? Totally. To take a coach out now and bring in someone else halfway through the season and expect them to get it together and make a playoff run. I don't know that we've ever seen that in the NBA. I know that I've seen it in some other sports, but I don't think we've ever seen it. But to maybe package Beasley with someone else and bring in I don't know who to play alongside Damian Lillard, I think that's easier if that's, or it's less hard, because I don't think it's easy. I don't want to use the word easy because I don't think it's easy, but I think that might be the route that you're going to go, because you've kind of you've gone all in on Damian Lillard. You know what you have there.
Yes,
you need a defensive perimeter guy next to him, because behind him can't cover. Just can't.
With that logic, Tone, that you need another defensive perimeter guy next to him, would you call up the Chicago Bulls and ask for Caruso?
If you could get Caruso in a heartbeat, you'd do that.
Absolutely, I would. From Milwaukee, I'd call up Chicago and ask for Caruso. See what it would cost me, and what if it would cost me something that I'm willing to give up, because I'm not willing to part with any of my core guys. Giannis, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, and that might be Lillard. Yeah, I'm not willing to part with any of those guys. None of those guys. I'm not willing to part with them. But with that being said, Tone, I look at the Milwaukee Bucks. Like I said, they got 9 losses. Of the 9 losses that they got, 4 of them are to Indiana. 4 of them are to Indiana. So because of them being owned by one team, you got them out of the top 5. I do,
basically. Okay,
and that team is in their division, by the way.
All
right. At number 5, I got the Sixers. He's missed 7 games. Joel Embiid has. They've lost 5 of the 7 games that he's been out. So it's obvious how big a deal he is to them in terms of their offense, because they got a top 10 offense. They don't pass the ball. I thought that they were a better team in terms of passing the ball, but they're not. But when I watch them and I watch their offense is so much more fluid now. What I mean when I say that, Tone, is I don't see 5 guys standing around the perimeter just watching. When I see Joel Embiid, he's playing more on the block. He's playing more in the mid post. He's playing more on the perimeter and in the mid range. He doesn't play on the long ball line, and he's mixing it up. And on top of him mixing it up, Tone, you got a lot of action off of him. You got a lot of cuts to the basket. You got a lot of down screens. You got a lot of cross screens. Plus, you got Tyrese Maxey going downhill, creating for other people. So that's a big deal, and that's a big deal in itself. Now, with that being said, Tone, I just want to put something on your mind, and I don't know how you feel about this, but the last guy to lead the league in scoring and the team win the NBA championship, that would be your Lakers. It was 25 years ago when the Diesel did it.
I know.
And the guy who did it before him, that was Jordan. But the guy before him, that was Jabbar in 71. That was it. So the fact that you lead the league in scoring and you're averaging 35 a game, I don't know how conducive that's going to be to winning.
Well, that's what they always say until someone does it, right? Jabbar did it, and then it didn't happen. And then when Jordan came in and was the leading scorer, there's guards and whatever, leading the league in scoring. There's, at the top of the list, remember, it became kind of guards heavy, and they said, oh, you can't win with a leading scorer, especially a guard. He proved them wrong. Then now it was guards, because we went to ISO ball in the 2000s, but then Shaq did it. And now we're saying, well, no one has done it since Shaq until somebody else does it. So I think with the Sixers, much like any team, and I told you this on Deck the Halls, if you remember when we did the debate, there's been 2 teams in the last 40 years, 2 that weren't a top 5 defensive rated team to win a championship. 2. So if you're not a top 10 defensive rated team, so as long as Philly's defense, I think it has more to do with what they do defensively than his scoring. Right?
Like I think they are top 5. I think they're top 5 in defense this year.
Then I think his to the point of that you're making about a leading scorer winning a chip. I think that maybe that's secondary to as long as they played their defense, and I think Nick Nurse has done a great job of getting them to buy in. And listen, addition by subtraction, moving on by James Harden, letting Tyrese Maxey, your guy that you've been crying for to get more of an offensive load, boom, it's worked. And
on top of that, Tone, to your point, when you were just talking about leading the league in scoring and being a top 5 defensive rated team, like, people leave out the fact that in addition to Shaq averaging 30 a game, he finished 2nd in Defensive Player of the Year that year.
Oh yeah, so the defense is,
and that's something that's important to mention. So I think about Joel Embiid averaging 35 a game. They are top 5 in the league in defense. He is one of the better defensive bigs in the game. The question is can he hold up, Tone? That's the $1 million question. Can he hold up?
Isn't that the question with everybody?
No, it's not the question with everybody, Tone, because that's not the question with James. No, it wasn't the question with Steph Curry. It wasn't the question with KD. No, it was not.
It wasn't the question with Curry in the beginning?
It was before he started winning, it was a question. But after he started winning, that wasn't a question of whether or not he could hold up. That wasn't a question with
he hasn't won yet. Once he wins, then
now that's different. Now we can have a different conversation about him when he does. But you said it yourself, Tone. When we're talking about a guy who at 35 a game, at 33 a game, like Julius Randle, your production completely goes the other way. That's a recipe for disaster. I can't count on that.
That's the difference too, right? Is that playoff drop off.
Right.
I want to go back to your defensive thing too, because you brought up Jordan too, leading scorer. But if memory serves me correct, they were pretty good defensively, I think, too, those 6 years that they won.
100% Jordan,
because they won
top 5 in defensive player of the year.
They won. Or sorry, he led the league in scoring 4 other times that they did not win. Go look at the defense. Those other 4 years, the defense matters. So, when I said, I want to go back to when I said about Embiid holding up, the question that is the question for everybody, though, right? Like we said, if Embiid holds up, if Kawhi holds up, if you haven't gotten to him yet, if Jokic gets hurt, you're gonna need your best player to be playing. But I see what you're saying. He's got more question marks if he can stay his level of productivity in the playoffs and healthy. Right. I see that part absolutely.
And I'm also thinking about guys that we didn't have this conversation. We've only had this conversation recently, Tone, about guys being able to hold up. We didn't talk about this like when Kawhi Leonard before Kawhi Leonard started to get banged up. For the majority of the guys, Tim Duncan, James, Curry, Dirk, Bryant, we weren't Shaq. We weren't talking about these guys holding up because we knew that they were going to be there. We knew that those guys were going to be there. Now we're in a space where, we got load management. In addition to load management, these guys don't hold up in the playoffs. Kawhi Leonard is a prime example of that.
But if I may, those guys that we're questioning, it's because we've seen them not hold up. We didn't question Kawhi before, right? We didn't.
No, we did not.
Embiid, you question Embiid because day one he came out sitting for the first 2 years, right? So with Shaq and those guys, there wasn't a reason to question it. These 2 guys in particular have given us a reason to ask. So I don't think that's a generational thing. I don't think I think it's just particular to these players. I think. I hope. I don't think it has much. I don't think it's about the load man. And you know how I hate the load managing and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think
you love it, Tone. You love it. You love guys sitting out in the middle of the season. You love it,
especially when it's their one time on the road, and it's the only chance that people who paid a bunch of money to go see them get it, or when it's the Brooklyn Nets.
Mm-hmm.
Really, we're going to sit everybody against the Bucks because we know we're going to lose, and then you come out 2 nights later and lose anyways again.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, okay, let's go back to your list. We're at number 4.
We're at number 4. The Rich Creamies. That's what we're talking about now. The Rich Creamy Nougats. They also, Tone, are a top. They're also a top. They're in the top 5 in the league in defense, and I'm on record saying this. Contrary to popular belief, Joker and this guy right here, me and this guy go back and forth about it constantly. Joker actually does try. I might not be as fast as Usain Bolt, but I'm sure I'm going to run the 100. And I'm going to try to keep up with him as much as I can. I'm probably not going to be able to, but I damn sure I'm going to try. I'm just not out here just shaking my legs like, oh, let's just get this over with. No, I'm going to actually give it a run. I'm going to rebound.
I'm on defense. No, yes. I think he tries. I think he picks his spots. I think that's a thing now. I see that a lot of times where people aren't just running. I see it a lot more than usual.
Well, you just mentioned it yourself, Tone, when you said that guys pick their spots. Was Olajuwon in every play? He wasn't in every play.
When you're that big, you have to pick your spots. I don't know.
Right. And a guy like Joker, he is going to dig in the paint. He is going to rebound. He is going to contest shots. Okay, I can't jump over a telephone book, but I am going to actually try to block a shot. I am going to rebound. I am going to clog the lane. I am going to make it difficult for you. I'm not Lajuan. I'm not Tyson Chandler in here, no. But I am going to do my best to make things difficult for you and give guys like Aaron Gordon, give guys like KCP opportunities to make defensive plays, to rebound. That would explain why they are where they are. That's what explains why they are where they are in the league in terms of defense. But offensively, they're just fantastic, Tone. They're third. They give up the third least turnovers in the league. They take care of the ball. There's only 2 other teams in the league that take care of the ball better than them. That's largely due to Joker. And that's largely due to them running the offense through Joker. When you got a guy like Joker that's that good and that's that efficient, who sees the game, plays ahead, where MPJ ends up with a wide open shot before he even crosses half court, or Aaron Gordon ends up with a dunk at the end of the shot clock because he sees the game a lot further along than other people. More times than not, you're going to be successful with a guy like that, specifically offensively. You are.
Okay. I had Denver 5, Philly 4, but I liked your argument. So I give you the bell.
Okay, absolutely. At number 3, I got the Minnesota Timberwolves. I got Minnesota. They still got the best defense in the league. They got the second best record in the league. Two of their front court players in both Cat and Rudy being the top 20 in the league in rebounding. That's a big deal. And with that being said, this is the group that I expected this season. I expected to see this last year. Yes, that's before Cat missed 54 games. I expected to see this from this group, but Cat's been out of the lineup, but now he's back in the lineup. And they have a dynamic player in Anthony Edwards. They have perimeter defense. They have all the necessary ingredients, Tone, to win the NBA championship. You got your elite perimeter defender. You got your elite perimeter scorer. You got your elite big man. You got your elite interior defense. You got your great rotation guys and Naz Reid. The bald head kid. I'm surprised. I'm sorry. I drew a blank on him. But Slow-Mo, you got him. So you have all of these guys who are equipped to win the NBA championship. Here's the $1 million question. The $1 million question is, can you guys do it? Right? Can you guys actually put this thing together? Can you guys put this thing together to win the NBA championship? With the defense that they have, Tone, they should actually get more in transition than they do. And they don't. They're an average transition team. You would think that with perimeter defense like Jaden McDaniels, like Anthony Edwards, right? You would, if you had guys like Mike Conley, if you had guys like that to speed the game up, we could get more stuff in transition than we do, and they don't. And that's a problem that I have with the Minnesota Timberwolves, that they don't get a lot of easy buckets in transition. That's going to be a problem moving forward, because once the game slows down, that means buckets are at a premium. So if we got to speed the game up, we got to be able to convert, and we have to be able to convert during that time.
So I'm going to tell you 2 things. One, I told you so last year, because I told you what Minnesota was going to do last year. 2, at the beginning of this year, what did I tell you? Do you remember this conversation when we did our first power ranking, and you said, I don't know if I want to trust them after, and
you've always been out on Minnesota.
This year I told you buy into them. This year I said buy. Last year I said sell. And this year I said buy.
Actually, yes, you did. Yes, you did, Tom. My fault. Yes, you did.
Here's what I'm going to tell you, and here's what I'm going to now foreshadow you into the playoffs. Sell again. Because I think last year I told you I was right about to sell. This year I was right to buy them in the regular season, but I think come playoff time, the things that we're seeing that are working well with Cat and with Gobert, we're going to see Gobert put in those situations again. Remember every playoff we see him get put in those pick and roll situations, and he gets exposed. When you got to play them in a 4-7 game series, I think he's going to get exposed again. And I don't like. If I look here, let me look at this, and I know this is going to change between now and then.
Right.
Right now, Minnesota would face Houston. I'm going to leave out the 9 and 10 teams. I know there's going to be a play-in tournament, whatever. Right now, they would face Houston if they were the 1 seed. Okay, I'm good. I'm good with them.
I think they can beat Houston.
Houston's young. Okay. In round 2, they got the Braves. You don't think those guys are fast enough and will put enough of pressure on that? So that's what I'm saying. I don't think. And let's say they make it past that, because we're talking about making it to a championship, right?
Mm-hmm.
They getting by Denver?
Denver did say that that was their toughest. I believe it was Bruce Brown who said that was their toughest matchup, and the reason why is because of Joker, and the fact that they play the fact that offense runs through Joker. Joker does play on the perimeter, which drags Rudy away from the basket, and spreads them out. That's going to be a problem, right?
Well, in round 2, apparently they'd have the Kings, according to someone who's not biased at all.
If Big Ox knows anything, he does not like that matchup. He doesn't. I
think the 3 rounds through the West will be too much of a.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be too much for them this season. It's their first season that they've played well.
And with that being said, Tone, remember, I said I feel like they have all the ingredients to win it.
Yeah.
The question is can they put it together? Because we've seen plenty of teams that have all the ingredients to win it. We've seen teams that have everything you need to win it. Can they put it together? That's the difference right there.
Remind me again, what was the series, Denver and Minnesota?
Denver beat them in 5 games.
If that's your matchup.
Now remember, Tone, 4 of those 5 games were dog fights, including the closeout game. It took overtime in order to beat them. So
there's different ways of winning in 5, but
yes,
still 1 in 5.
It took overtime. Now, Tone, what you trying to sell me is that I got knocked out in the second round, but he did puff my eye up.
You were my top matchup because I didn't beat you in the first.
He did puff my eye up, though. Yes, he did split my lip. He did do that, but I did drop him in the second round.
Right. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. That's all.
Did drop him in the second round. So,
my God.
All right, back to your list. So I'm good with the. I'm with you. I have the Timberwolves at 3-2 because I also agree on your number 2.
Yep.
There's already been questions in the chat why you got them number 2.
I got Oklahoma City at number 2 for a number of different reasons. Number 1, they're in the top 5 in the league in scoring. That says a lot to me that they could put the ball in the basket in a number of different ways. They're one of the better transition teams in the league. They're also in the top 10 in the league in assists. You know what that means, Tone? That means that the ball is moving. If the ball is moving, people are moving. If people are moving, they keep the defense off balance. That's a good thing for Oklahoma City. Now, when we talk about them on the offensive side of the basketball, how good they are, they're even better on the defensive side of the basketball. They're in the top 10 in the league in forced turnovers. Top 10 in the league in forced turnovers. Now, if you're in the top 10 in the league in forced turnovers, it goes back to my theory with Minnesota. Oklahoma City is one of the best transition teams in the game, which means they're converting on these turnovers. So when they get teams to turn the ball over, they're actually scoring, which would explain why their scoring is up, right? My problem with Oklahoma City, however, is they're one of the worst rebounding teams in the game, Tom. That's an issue that I have with them. I thought that with Chet being in the lineup, he gave them something. He gave them something that they didn't have, and that was an interior presence. That was a rim runner. That was a stop and pop guy and a stretch 5. And he's giving them that. Add all of that up with the fact that with this Oklahoma City team, I was apprehensive with them early. I thought they were a playoff team. I want to make sure I'm clear on that. I thought they were a playoff team, but I didn't think that they were this high early. And the reason why is because they were below 500 against playoff teams. Well, over the last, I believe, 2 weeks, beat Denver twice, just beat Boston, and smoked Minnesota. Smoked them. So they are getting it together. Jalen Williams is one of the better second-year players that I've seen in a long time. What can I say about SGA? He's a cross between Steve Smith and Brandon Roy when I watch him, and everything about his game, I really dig it. And he's even better on the defensive side of the basketball. I don't see him getting sped up. I'm trying to make sense of how, why can't you stay in front of this guy? Because he doesn't blow me away with his athleticism. He doesn't play above the rim. So why can't you stay in front of this guy? Because he's so crafty. that has a lot to do with it. They got a bunch of good rotation players in Isaiah Joe and in Cason Wallace. This Oklahoma City team is young, and they got a lot of guys like Josh Giddey, like Jalen Williams, like Chet. They got a lot of guys on rook deals. Tone, you being a businessman, and in the business of basketball.
I love the rook deals.
Absolutely, you being a businessman, for a fact that when I got you on your rook deal, I better get everything that I can get, because once it's time to pay, I'm not going to be able to pay all of these guys.
And that's what makes me listen. I know we're just talking about this season, but that's what makes me nervous about, especially OKC, right? Not a big market. That's what makes me nervous about the long term, because with this core, they should be challenging, right, to go to the finals for multiple years.
Right.
But I feel like it's going to be like the last time, right? Harden leaves, KD leaves, like they all one by one just kind of started drop off for different reasons. Don't get me wrong, but I think that's going to happen again. Sadly, because when you work so hard, you tank, you get these draft, like they had 75 first round draft picks.
I thought it was 80. I'm pretty sure I counted 80, Tone. Pretty sure I counted 80.
And they did a good job putting this team together, right? Not a bunch of superstars, but a bunch of pieces that fit together, which is more important.
But they rolling right now, Tone. They've won 11 of their last 13 games. I mean, they lost last night a dog fight.
They won. They lost their last one, but I think they're 8-2 in their last 10.
Yeah.
They look good.
They're rolling right now.
SGA is not going to win it, but SGA is going to be in that MVP. He's going to get some votes for MVP, as he should.
Yes.
Or I don't know. Maybe another Canadian guard wins an MVP. I don't know.
What does that say for Canada, Tone? If you get 2 Canadian guards in the last 20 years win league MVP,
it's beautiful.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
No, it's not. It's not.
It is kind of actually.
Yeah. Wins
back.
There's going to be some questions.
It is kind of. It is kind of weird. So,
all right. So number one, I don't think anyone. I challenge anyone. Yes, FIFA. I'm dropping the link later. I challenge anyone right now. I challenge you to tell me Boston isn't the number one team in the league right now.
You can't.
If anyone can tell me why.
You can.
When you got a unicorn as your 3rd/4th option, who's a better team than that? You got people. I just yelled at someone in the what is currently the panel chat, which will be someone calling them, are they a super team? I'm like, no. When a team starts playing great, you don't just call it they're a super team because they're playing great. Right. This is why I hate the whole. Remember, this is why I hate the whole super team narrative and people calling anyone a super team. I hate it. That being said, what are their flaws other than falling in love with the 3? Let's start with
many, they don't have many outside of the long ball. They're in the top 5, and they're the best rebounding team in the league. They're in the top 5 in the league defensively. They score with the best of them. They undefeated at home. So I think about what flaws they have.Maybe their rotation. So guys like Peyton Pritchard and Cornette. Even though I dig Hauser, I think Hauser is one of the better. I think Hauser is one of the better perimeter defenders off the bench in the league. 100% he is. I still think Brissett should be playing more. And another one of their flaws is their coach, because he's still young and he's still figuring it out. But because they're so good, and they have a lot of guys in Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, who, by the way, Tone, doesn't shoot the ball particularly well. I don't know what's going on with him, but he's becoming more of a turnover guy, and like he'll give me good productive minutes from time to time, but I do worry about him defensively, because I watched SGA just basically have his way with him. But meanwhile, I watched SGA get covered by Jason Tatum, and nobody is talking about this, Tony. I don't know why. But in the last 5 minutes of that game against Oklahoma City, last 5 minutes of that game, Jason Tatum was covering SGA. 0 points. Nothing. Shut the door on him. 0 for 3 from the floor. completely shut the door on him. And I'm thinking to myself, why can't anybody else stay in front of him like Jason Tatum stayed in front of him? Well, bigger defender, more athletic, more range, able to cover more ground, more physical. With all of that being said, why wasn't Jason Tatum covering him throughout the game as opposed to the last 5 minutes?
Well, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, because that's what you want Jaylen Brown to do, right? Jaylen Brown is the number 2 on this team. And what you want him to do, maybe not as athletic as Jason Tatum, but he's long, he's athletic, he's known for defense. That's what you should be doing. That's what I want you to do as the number 2, is I'm going to put you on their best offensive player, right? And I want you to focus on that, and I want Tatum to focus on the offense. Right. That's what you do as a coach. And then what happens is, oh, that's not working. All right, I got to flip it. Because I don't want, I'm not saying that they can't do it, but I don't want the person that I put the offensive load on to also have to go full court or whatever, full game, guarding their best defender. That's just not a good recipe. It's not successful. That's why I have 5 guys on the court. And I'm not saying to rest. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying if I have to be the number 1 offensive player and I have to guard their best offensive player, my game is going to be different than if I can just say, hey, you take them for even 3 quarters. Right. And I'll take them for the 4th. No problem. Right. It changes the dynamic of the game, and that's what you want, because now I can focus on doing other things. And that's what a team is. Like, if I have to do it all, if I got to guard the best player and be the offensive guy and be the rah-rah guy and keep you in line and tell you what position you're supposed to be in and motivate you and lead you. Look, guys can't do it. We've seen guys do it. It's rare that there's a guy who can do all of that. It's rare.
Am I hearing Tone get sucked into the now theory that these guys can't be the complete player like Scottie Pippen was, like Jordan was, like Bryant was? When we're talking about Jason Tatum as arguably one of the best players, a top 5 player in the game, why can't you, when you've shown me that you can be elite on the defensive side of the basketball, you've shown me that you can do that, why can't you do this regularly? Why does this have to be a special occasion? It's not my birthday.
I'm going to tell you. Hold on. Well, the first name you said was Pippen. And Pippen didn't have to do the scoring. Pippen didn't have to worry about the scoring. You know this. Look at most of his points, fast breaks and opportunities. It wasn't him. He was facilitating the offense, but his scoring was off fast breaks, easy opportunities, dunks mostly. And it made Jordan's life easier because it's Pippen. Yo, you go guard this guy. Or you're having a hard time. Okay, Jordan. Or flipping back and forth. Let me use the Olympics as an example. They decided they were going to shut down Tony Kukoc. What'd they do? They doubled him and they took turns on him.
Right.
In the 91 finals, Jordan had him for the first game. He got into foul trouble in game 2. I think he got 2 fouls in the first quarter. Pippen jumps on him for a little bit, and then Jordan comes back onto him for the rest of the series. Although people remember it differently, that's actually what happened. But that's what I want to see from Tatum and Brown is what, because you're asking Tatum to do it. Well, why are you letting Jaylen Brown off the hook? He just got paid $300 million.
Yes, him too.
And he can't go left. So you know what? Go guard SGA.
Absolutely.
Go make it easier for your number 1 guy.
He actually was on. He actually was on SGA for stretches throughout the game, and he wasn't doing anything, which I got a problem with that, because I'd like to think, watching him previously, he actually is a good defender. Now, to your point about Scottie Pippen, well, Scottie Pippen was asked to score, Tony. He averaged 20 a game in more than one season with Jordan. But with that being said, he also got a lot of easy buckets off defense in transition.
Absolutely.
Now, with that now a guy like Drew Holiday, who obviously, as good of a defender as he is, he could use some help. And it's okay to get that help from Jason Tatum. It's okay to get that help from Jaylen Brown. Yo, I'll cover him. You don't have to cover him the entire game. I'll deal with him. And when we have switches, you do a good job on this guy and give guys like SGA, give guys like Anthony Edwards, give these guys different looks. When you give them different looks, now you make them more susceptible to mistakes, as opposed to he's just covering, Drew Holiday is covering him. With Drew Holiday covering him, I know what Drew Holiday's nuances are. I know how Drew Holiday wants to cover me. So I am asking a guy like Jason Tatum. I'm asking a guy like Jaylen Brown. I'm asking Anthony Edwards. I am asking these guys to be that on both sides of the basketball. And the reason why I'm asking you to do that is because I value the complete player. And if you want me to talk about you like I talk about the great ones, you have to do this on a consistent basis, not in 3 and 5 minutes.
Isn't that what the great ones do? Is for the most part, they lead the team in scoring, and when it matters most, they shut in the fourth quarter. In the last 5 minutes, they shut down the other team's best player. I saw Kobe doing that, right? Asking to cover. Yo, I got AI in the finals. That's my assignment. He didn't do that in the first quarter. He did that in the fourth quarter.
And he did do that in the fourth quarter, but
that's what I expect. Because when I look at this Boston team, when I look at Holiday, Tatum, and Brown,
right,
this should be the most reckless, stifling perimeter defense in the league.
It shouldn't be a question.
Drew Holiday, arguably one of the best. I think one time you said the best perimeter defender in the league. Yes, let's say one of the best. I'll give him one of the best. The athleticism and defensive ability that Brown and Tatum have. This team, man, you should be struggling to get past half court when they want to. Again, you can't play like that the whole entire game. Don't get me wrong. But I don't feel like I see that enough. Right, I see Tatum step up against SGA. Okay, last 5 minutes held him to no points, but I don't see that's what. So those are the things that when I look at the Celtics, it's the falling in love with the three, right? When it's just if they were to, you know me, if they were to go to the basket a little bit more, your threes become a lot easier. Their bench makes me a little bit nervous, and the fact that I feel like they think they can flick a switch defensively, but I'm not sure they can. I think they can. I'm not sure that they can.
I think that they can. I think they can, Tone, as a unit. That's the difference. Individually, like I don't think Drew Holiday is what he used to be defensively. I still think he's damn good, but I don't think he's what he used to be defensively. And because of that, I don't think he could just turn it on defensively, individually. I think he can do it in stretches from time to time, but he's not what he used to be 3-4 years ago. He's a little long in the tooth now. Now, if he could get with a guy like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown tell him, yo, we got your back. You don't have to do this by yourself. We got your back. They can, as a unit, with Porzingis being a rim protector that he is, and the paint presence that he is. I think that he could also help them as a unit flip a switch. Individually, no.
Okay. All right. Let's that was the top 10.
Yep.
We're gonna invite you guys on. We're gonna save time at the end for that.
Yep.
But I want to go through some of the stuff that's going on in the NBA. The first one is a weird one because the Raptors just made a trade. We've already talked about the trade at length. OG Anunoby, Malachi Flynn, and Precious Achiuwa to the Knicks.
Yep.
The Raptors get RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley, who, by the way, Quickley had a heck of a game last night, and was having fun. I don't know if you heard, but he was like he knocks down his first couple of threes, and coach is like, "Hey, you don't look like you're having fun, man. Have fun, relax." And that's when he started doing the dance, and like people were questioning the people I was watching the game. I was like, "Why is he acting like that?" I'm like, "Cause
Tibbs.
Why not have fun?" Yeah, because Tibbs wouldn't let him do nothing.
Tibbs.
so it's made this team more at least fun to watch. They're 2-0 since the trade, but now the second shoe looks like it's going to drop because more and more we're starting to hear about Pascal Siakam still possibly being on the move. Indiana, the team that keeps coming up. Have you heard this trade?
I have not. Oh, that's news. I have not heard this trade, but I don't hate it. I don't hate it. In fact, I actually like it. I don't hate it because now it gives Tyrese Halliburton another option offensively. Pascal Siakam is actually going to play some defense on the perimeter. He's not a cone. Yeah. He will make efforts to defend, which is one of their major problems. They don't have that kind of intensity and they don't have that kind of effort defensively. The issue that I'm having with this is, Tone, he comes off the books after this year. So he's a rental. And am I willing to give up my young talent for a rental in effort to us winning it? I mean, does Pascal Siakam push Indiana over the top to go, okay, we got Siakam now. We're now the favorites in the East. I don't know if I can say that with 100% certainty.
Yeah, and I think the rumor was Siakam in a package for, Matherin and some others. So I don't. Again, you don't know who the trade's actually going to be for. But I mentioned this before, how there seemed to be a rift that goes back years between OG and Pascal, and they gave up a first round. They don't have any first round picks this year because they gave up their first rounder to get Jakob Poeltl, who, by the way, just on a side note, Jakob Poeltl is like such an underrated big in this league, right? He's a rim runner. He shoots close to like 70% from the field. Like every time he throws something up, it's going. You don't know how, because he throws up these weird. They always go in,
right?
Like 65-70% from the field.
Right.
He doesn't get a lot of block shots. But I was watching yesterday's game, and I was purposely watching for this. There are so many times, because he's sneaky long, right? Like, he's a big, but he's sneaky long. And it's like, oh, he didn't block that, but man, he changed that shot enough that he missed. And I counted like 3 or 4 possessions in a row when Toronto went on, I believe, an 11-0 run to kind of pull the game away. And it was like he contested. And that's where I wish there was a stat for like contested / changed shots, because you don't get the block. A lot of times you don't get the rebound because you're the one outreaching your arm and going at. But I saw so many guys double clutch or like throw up some bad, awkward shot that they missed. They get the rebound and off they go, and they're running. And like any team, I was going to say the Raptors are a lot better when they run. No, every team in the NBA, when they run and get easy baskets, is better, because this. I know this. Anyone who's played basketball at any level knows this. If you get out and you get some easy layups, man, your shots seem to fall a lot easier when
it's a lot bigger, boy. It's so much bigger. But to your point, Tone, they actually do have a stat. It's called contested shots. Evan Mobley's in the top 5 in contested shots, and in contested threes. Now, I know what you're talking about, Tone, because a lot of people, they think that rim protection is just blocking shots. No, it isn't. Rim protection is a number of different things. Rim protection is pushing a guy out of the lane. Rim protection is making a guy take a bad shot. Rim protection is altering a guy's shot. Rim protection isn't just smacking a guy's shot into the third row. Rim protection isn't just blocking a guy's shot and keeping it in play. No, rim protection is a whole bunch of things. I don't pay enough attention, because you ain't the first person to say this to me neither, Tone, but I don't pay enough attention to Poeltl, and I probably should pay more attention to him, because I remember him when he was in San Antonio. They were garbage. So I wasn't really paying a lot of attention.
He's an average player on a bad team. You're not watching it.
So I wasn't really paying a lot of attention to him.
Look, he's still an average player, but he's one of those players that will come in and again, the stats won't show it, but like there's a reason him and Siakam are like besties.
Right.
They remind me of Kyle and DeMar. They're like they're actually super close. So that's why I'm hesitant when I say so. I found the rumor, which was Siakam for Benedict, Matherin, and Walker. That's the package. Toronto, for some reason, loves this Jarice Walker. I know. I probably said his first name wrong.
Yeah.
Did I get it right? I got a name right.
I think he went to Kentucky. Yeah, I think he went to Kentucky. And now it was ringing a bell, Tone. I did hear that, and I think that changed, because one of the guys that was in that trade was the kid Johnson from Maryland, the guy that wears the goggles on Indiana. He was also, who I love, by the way. Love everything about his game, but I don't know if that's enough to get it done for Siakam.
Yeah, I don't unless it comes with some first round picks.
Or
what's that?
That's a third team we got to get involved, Tone.
Oh, jeez.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
You love this third team, but you know what? You're right, because Toronto would need more, but then it becomes a bigger deal. It's just more complicated. So you like Siakam to the Pacers if the price is right, because now they've got like, does he become the number one?
Yes. Halliburton becomes more of a facilitator with Siakam. He becomes an even better facilitator because Siakam is a damn good transition player. They're the number one team in the league in pace. They're the fastest team in the NBA. So Siakam gets out in the open floor with the best of them, plays in transition with the ball with the best of them. And a guy like Halliburton, who likes to get off the basketball, he makes Siakam's job so much more easier when he's doing that stuff. So I think that they run it through him. I think he makes them a lot better offensively than what they already are.
Yeah. Just FYI, there's still issues in Toronto. For those that are going to ask, there's an issue with who's going to take shots and people playing as individuals. Dennis Schroeder, right before the trade, if you recall, came out and said it. He's like, "There's a lot of me basketball." He goes, "I play for my country, right? I play for Team Germany, and we were very unselfish. This team still has that me mentality first. That's a problem." Right. You know, they talked about getting rid of it from last year to this year and the coaching changes and When a guy like Schroeder comes out and says it, like, it's still an issue. So that's why I think there's still some more moves.
Tone, how do you feel? Tone, how do you feel about RJ being insurance? Because I think that you're going to lose Siakam, whether you lose him in a trade.
That's the reason why I think why they have to trade him. Because how many times do the Raptors have to let someone walk for nothing?
No.
Right? And that's the thing you hate the most.
I hate that.
How many times? Like, every single time, right? There's a player. Okay, there's been some exceptions, but they typically, historically, have lost their best players for nothing.
Kyrie Irving is an exception. Letting Kyrie Irving walk out the front door in Boston, I didn't love it.
Right.
Because I feel like they could have got something for him, but okay. But for the most part, when you have a star, you cannot let this dude walk out the front door. You can't. You have to get something for him. Whether it's a one, whether it's, especially the way they handed out ones today, you got to get at least a one, maybe 2 ones, a good rotation player.
I was busy. I missed. What happened today?
What happened today?
Oh, I thought there was a trade that they gave a bunch of ones today.
I'm talking about
in general.
I'm talking about specifically today because I'm talking about in general today when, Donovan Mitchell went for 4 ones. Rudy Gobert went for 4 ones. These guys, they're when you're talking about having a star, I can't just let this dude walk out the front door for nothing. No, I can't do it. And when teams do that, I appreciate the logic tone of addition by subtraction. I do appreciate that. However, when you have a star like Siakam, I am not letting him walk out the front door for nothing, especially when I'm rebuilding. It's not like in Boston when they had Kyrie Irving, when you had Jaylen Brown, when you had Jason Tatum, when you had Marcus Smart, when you have Robert Williams that you got in the draft. Then, okay, we got something going on here that even though I hate it, I probably could have gotten another couple of ones for Kyrie Irving. Okay, I do have my building blocks here. But when you have a team like Toronto, that's literally, when you lose Siakam, he's the last guy left from that championship team. So essentially, you're starting over. So you're starting over with Scotty.
They've said we're starting over with Scotty. I believe RJ Barrett is part of that. I strongly believe because Quickly is a restricted free agent, so I think they're going to match anything he gets. That's going to be pricey. And so this is your chance to, when you said RJ's insurance, I'm not as high on RJ as you are. So if I'm going to get insurance, I'd like it to be either a player or a couple of picks that I think you're going to get for Pascal that you didn't get for OG. Because don't forget, they had an offer for like 3 or 4 ones last year for OG, and they didn't do it.
I remember
that. That was so now you got to and then you give up your one for Pirtle. So now it's like, oh, what are you doing? Like, where's the if you're
3 of them back? You could have got 3 of them back.
3 of them back. So I think if you can get a player and a 1 or 2 ones,
right?
And I think that's available. I think that's there's some other situations because Atlanta has been asking for him. Like if I could get, and I don't know if he even fits, but Murray probably doesn't fit. But maybe that's where the third team comes in.
Any of those guys on Atlanta, if that kid Jalen Smith is not in, Jalen Johnson, if he's not in the deal, I'm hanging the phone up because before we talk about anybody else on that Atlanta crew, I want him. I absolutely want him. I don't care if I can. I'm not as high on DeJounte Murray. I'm not as high on all of those other guys. But in Atlanta, that kid, Jalen Johnson, if we're making a pick, I mean, if we're making a trade, if he's not involved in it, I'm out. I'm out.
All right. So there's some other teams. Speaking of building around, so we said Raptors are officially now in build around Barnes mode, which I think makes sense. Although let me just one more second on the Raptors to say I hate one thing about Scotty Barnes. I hate one thing about Scotty Barnes. Have you watched a full Raptors game?
I watched them play Boston in the play-in tournament, not the play. I'm sorry, in the in-season tournament.
How many times did Barnes look like he was really hurt and was grimacing, and just to like be fine 30 seconds later?
He does that. Like if he turns the ball over, he'll be like, or if he kicks the ball out of bounds, or if he misses a shot, it's like,
I always feel like, and every time he goes down, he gets up and it looks like he's rolled his ankle and he's grimaces, and then he's fine.
Like, knock it off, man.
And again, nothing. It's one of those little things that I notice because I look at those little things and I'm like, stop it. But hey, maybe, I don't know, maybe he's hurt. I don't know. He's either hurt all the time or he over exaggerates kind of minor, it's like, I don't know if you've ever seen this. I think there's this TikTok video where it shows like, kids, Gen X kids, right? And they walk into a wall and it's like, dunk, and they just keep walking. And then they're like, Gen Z kids, bonk, ow, and they keep walking. And then millennials, bang, and he falls to the floor like walking the doors on. So this is fine. All right, the next one. So we're building around Barnes in Brooklyn. In Brooklyn, they're saying they want to build around Bridges. They want to build Bridges. Is that the right move? Is he good enough to be the guy you build a team around?
Depending on what you're building around him. So
if he's your best player,
it goes back to when I think about teams like the Detroit Pistons, when I think about defensive mind, like when I think about the Milwaukee Bucks in the 80s, when you have a defensive-minded two-guard or small forward, you have to get guys like that around him. So, for example, them losing Ben Simmons was huge for what they're trying to do. Ben Simmons does so much for that Brooklyn Nets defense. With him off the floor, now you're relying on guys like Dennis Smith Jr. You're relying on Cam Thomas to be your point of attack guys defensively. That's not going to get it done, right? You're relying on guys like Cam Johnson. If you're building this unit around Mikal Bridges, you building this unit around Mikal Bridges to his skill set, because that's basically what you build units around players for. You build it around for their skill set. When they built that unit around Jordan, that unit was built around Jordan to his skill set. When you built the unit around Jabbar, when you built the unit around Olajuwon, when you built the unit around Shaq, you building a unit around a guy's skill set. And Mikal Bridges, I personally think that what you saw last year when he first got there, that 22 to 25, I think that's fool's gold. I think he's more of a 17 to 20 a game guy at best. So with that being said, that's more of a Rip Hamilton type of guy, which means that you got to get a distributor around him, like a distributor who defends, like Ben Simmons. Then on top of that, you get yourself meat and potatoes guys. I'd like to move Claxton to the 4 and get a rim protector who can stretch the defense and be a stretch 5. Somebody like
a stretch 5 rim protector,
a stretch 5. Think about a tougher version of. That's who I'm thinking about, Tone. That's exactly who I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about a tougher version of Miles Turner. I'm not thinking about Miles Turner because Miles Turner can stretch the defense and he does rim protect. But I don't think he's that tough.
So
however,
who in the league is that?
It ain't Cat. I can tell you that right.
I know who it's not. Who is it?
It's not Cat.
Like in 2K, you can't custom build a player.
Now we'll say this, Tone. I do know that defense is infectious. So if a guy like Ben Simmons
is more likely to keep Claxton at the 5 and find a stretch 4,
like Cat,
like I
don't think Minnesota's giving
Lauri Markkanen.
I don't think that.
I think Lauri Markkanen can be a solid 2 or 3 on a very, very good deep running playoff team.
I wasn't sure about Lauri Markkanen until this season. I thought that he was a 16,
even last year.
I wasn't sure about him going. I actually had the 6th man of the year. I mean, the most improved player. I actually had the right team. I just had the wrong guy. I had Colin Sexton as the most improved, but it turns out it was marketing. But we're talking specifically about building this unit around
Bridges. Yeah,
we're talking about building this unit around Bridges.
Can you be your best player?
Again, it's how you build this team, Tone. If I think that Miles Turner, if you're going to put Miles Turner on this crew, I think that the defense that you have with Ben Simmons being healthy, with Claxton, I think that defense becomes infectious, and I think that makes Miles Turner tougher, considering what you guys have when you got Claxton, when you got Bridges, when you got Simmons. You still got to get up. I still feel like you got to get a bucket getter, and I think you can get that when you trade Cam Thomas because you ain't doing nothing with him. He's in and out of the lineup. You're not sure what you're doing with him. I'm sure you could get at least a number. I'm sure you could get 2 1s for him. I'm not on the fence about that. I'm sure you could get 2 1s for him and get a dirty work.
I've got a live feed here. This is the general manager of the Brooklyn Nets. Right before he said they're going to build around Bridges.
I drank a beer. I drank another beer. 3 beers. 4 beers. 5 beers. 6 beers. 7 beers. 8 beers. 9 beers.
Yeah, no. He cannot be the best player on a championship team. He cannot be the best player on a good team. I'm sorry. I like Bridges a lot, but he cannot be your number. You cannot build around Miles Bridges. I'm sorry.
Mikal Bridges, sure.
You can't build around Mikal Bridges. Look, like I said, I think he could be your number 2. Right, I 100% think but I don't think he could be your number 1 guy. No, I do not. But if he's your number 2 and you find a 1, and then every other thing you said, I'm with you because of his defense. Because he can do everything, but he's your number 2. He cannot be your number 1. I'm sorry, Brooklyn. Just tweak that a little bit. Say, just build around him. I don't think is the right thing to do. All right, so we have one more topic.
Yeah.
And we're gonna send the link out and let some people come in. But we do have some super chats.
Yes, we do.
So let me go through these. The first one is, these are very big. I don't know how to make it smaller. I'll just tell you right now. I don't know what that is, why it's so big. I'm not editing the layout right now that it's live, but that's big. This is for the seeing. This is for us old guys. It's for the seeing impaired.
That's why I got glasses.
Nice big letters. All right. So football, CF Candy, 2 pounds. Appreciate it. What do the Bears do with the number 1 pick? Is it Caleb? I think, and this is interesting because you said, as a business guy, I like rookie deals. Is it Caleb or another quarterback? I don't know, but yes. The Bears should be taking that first overall pick that they're getting from Carolina and drafting their quarterback. They should be getting now, what they first need to do is make everybody think that they're sticking with Justin Fields. And they're doing a great job. They're winning some games now down the stretch. Justin Fields looks good. So now you move him, hopefully get another first and some players, or a second and a couple of players, because the Bears need everything. And you bring, because what happens is Justin Fields is going to be heading into year 4.
Yes.
Means next year he's going to have to get paid. That means you have a 1-year window with your quarterback on a rookie deal. And he's going to want big money, and he's going to deserve not the big money, but he's going to deserve big money. So unless you can sign him early to a deal that's team friendly, which I don't think they can, I think you move. This is what I said last year too. You move on from him, use that first round pick because you got 2 in the top 10, as long as you don't win too many more games. And I think you get another, right? You can get a player or another first rounder, and then you build around whoever this new quarterback is. Because what has happened historically with the Bears is they pick the wrong quarterback, they have the wrong coaches, they fire the coach, the new coach comes in, says, this isn't my quarterback, they explode, they get rid of that quarterback, they draft a new quarterback, but they still have the wrong coaches, they make it fail, so the coach gets fired, they bring in a new quarterback, that coach says, this isn't my quarterback, they get rid of him, they bring in a new quarterback.
So why is this going to be any different when you get Caleb? This is
where
Williams.
This is where it's different.
Why is this different? Because you're going to wreck him too. I'm
if
clear.
If they believe this is the right coaching staff, keep the coaching staff, bring in Caleb, and say, this is your guy, make it work. Because historically, they've always brought, or Caleb or another quarterback. It doesn't have to be Caleb. And look, it might just happen again. It might just be they bring in another quarterback. It's the wrong quarterback. Then they fire the coaches and bring in a new coach. He says that's my. It might happen again. We're seeing in Kansas City recently what Patrick Mahomes' life would have been like if he got drafted by the Bears.
He would have destroyed him.
100%. Let me tell you. What did I tell you? The second he gets his big money, other people are going to have.
We already know what it is. Yes, we already know what it is.
And look what happens with the Chiefs, right? It happened with in the history of the NFL, and granted, it was Patrick Mahomes last year, but in the history of the NFL, one top 5 paid quarterback has won a Super Bowl. One.
Uno.
And that was last year, Patrick Mahomes. And what happened after that? They had to lose a couple other guys, and now they got a bunch of guys who should be playing DB because they can't fucking. My bad. All right, so yes, to answer your question, yes, the Bears should move on, and not because Justin Fields isn't good. It's not because of that. It's just because, again, either team friendly deal him and then keep him, or move on. It's the only thing this is the only thing you can do. Terry with two dads says, thanks for super chat. Shaq,
Troll alert.
Today's game playing. No, he said just playing. I was ready. Once I read the first part, he's neurons known today's game.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
It is. How's y'all day going? How's your day going?
Good, yo. Running good, man. Running good.
My day is going well as well. So here's maybe his real question. Shaq is just slightly more athletic than Big Country.
Which, by the way, and Moss put something on my mind a couple of weeks back, and it made a lot of sense. So 20 years from now, when Joel Embiid is retired, they're going to ask him, who was your toughest matchup? He's going to say, Al Horford gave me hell. Just like Shaq, when you asked him years later, who was your toughest matchup? I couldn't do anything with Big Country Reeves. He used to tell me all the time, Tone, Jermaine, how do I stop this dude? What am I going to do with him? He's slow. He doesn't get up off the floor. He ain't really that athletic. How do I stop him? I said, run him. He's like, Jermaine, I run all the time. I can't do nothing with this dude. So I don't know what it is about Big Country. I don't.
I wish we had known each other then, because I could have helped you. If you would have just reached out and said, yo, Shaq's having trouble with Big Country because he's slow, he doesn't get off the ground, I'd be like, no problem. I'll show you my sophomore year yearbook where my nickname on the cover of the yearbook, Slow-Mo. I could have showed him how to slow the game down, because it's interesting. There's a guy that I played with, and he goes, I don't understand. I go, you don't understand what? He goes, you have this one move where, like, you'll get the ball in the post and you'll turn and you'll take like one and I'm moving at the same speed that I would in the game, and you'll take one dribble and end up, and somehow you'll be in the middle of the key, and you just, like, people jump and come down, and then you
still going up.
And I'm still going up, and you put a floater, and it always goes in, and I don't understand it. And then just like, that's the thing. It's just I move so slow that by the time they jump and land, I'm just releasing them.
Couldn't figure it out.
Couldn't figure it out, and I'm like, I could have taught him that, and then he would have been just fine.
What am I going to do with this guy, man? What am I going to do?
Which is crazy. Do you think that's who he's going to say? Do you think that's who Embiid's going to say is his toughest? Is Al Horford?
If you think about the guys that he's had the most trouble with, Al Horford gives Embiid hell. And if you think about Al Horford, when you think about the all-time great big men,
it's the minute jerk, bro.
Yeah, even though Al Horford is great, but like when you think about the all-time great big men, especially in Embiid's era, number one, when he showed up in 2016, the big man was dying off, but then he started to come back. You don't really think about a guy like Al Horford as an all-time great big man. But he gives Joel Embiid hell.
I don't know. Marc Gasol did a pretty good job in those playoffs.
Yes, he did.
It was only 1 year. So.
Yes, he did.
All right, we have one more, and then we'll get to the last topic before we let everybody else come in. With iHeart playing great. Oh,
Jay Hart.
Jay Hart. Yeah, that's what I
thought.
No.
He's talking about Hartenstein.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Josh. Playing great. Is Mitch Rob extendable?
No,
I think
he's not.
Expendable.
No,
I'm guessing all of these words. I'm guessing on all these words.
Hartenstein is a backup big. I don't think he's a starting big. I think he's a great rotation big, and I think that helps because what's going to happen is we're going to get to the playoffs, and he's going to get exploited for how he can't score around the basket. He's going to get exploited for being a good defender, but not a good glass cleaner, like Mitchell Robinson is, and the stuff necessary to win. He doesn't do that as much as Mitchell Robinson does. He doesn't do that as much as any starter on a playoff team as a big does. So because of that, if you think about the starters on playoff teams as bigs, like does he do what Steven Adams does? No. Does he do what Porzingis does? No. I'm thinking about 5 men on playoff teams. He doesn't do that. But he's also a fantastic rotation big. Fantastic. And he looks great in stretches. So I don't think that Mitchell Robinson is expendable. What I will say is that I think that him being hurt and this being a season-ending injury, that might make him expendable because the Knicks might be thinking, I don't know if we can, I'm not sure that we can invest in him long term. But
excuse me, time out. Chat, we are 1,000% live. 1,000% live. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. We hot. Yes, sir.
We live. We're so live that I'm about to drop the link in the chat.
We got you, Killer Cam. We live. Yes, we are.
Yeah, there you go. I sent it 3 times.
We absolutely live. Yes, we are.
To let you guys in. All right. So last topic before we bring some people up. We were asked, who is the most consistent superstar? Who is the most consistent superstar
in today's game?
In today's game, right now, who is the most consistent?
Joker.
I
feel like no matter what, I'm gonna get this out of Joker. No matter what. Joker isn't a great defender. I know that for a fact. That Joker is not a great defender. But I know for a fact Joker's gonna clean glass. I know he ain't gonna fold in the playoffs. I know he's gonna give me maximum effort. I know he's gonna pass the ball with the best of them. So because of that, of all the guys, his game translates into the playoffs like it's translated into the playoffs. It's just that he didn't have the necessary lead guard that he has now. But he was doing what he's doing. I mean, when they lost to Golden State in 22, I think he was like 31 and 13 in that series and like 7 assists. He was doing something like that. And that's without Jamal Murray and MPJ. That was without both of those guys. He was still like 31, 13, and 7. So if there's one guy that I can say as a superstar that I think is the most consistent, that I know for a fact that I'm going to get this out of them, it's Joker.
All right. Double A was first up, so Double A's first in.
What up?
Fellas, what's going on, y'all?
What up, brother? What's going on?
Same fight, different round. That's it over here.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, but and to answer that question, who's the most consistent? I think it's really the top 5 players right now. They all that's first team all NBA to me. I think they all tie for the most consistent. The Lukas, SGA, Embiid, Joker, and Giannis. You know what you're gonna get out of those 5. I think those 5 are all tied up. I don't think neither one really jumps. My bad. Go ahead.
Well, I don't think SGA is a top 5 player in the game yet because I haven't seen him.
Don't curse at me like that.
I don't think he's a top 5 player. So wait. Since when are we putting guys in the top 5 who haven't shown you what you need to see in the postseason? When we done that?
All the time.
Yeah,
when?
Yeah.
And we've been wrong all the time.
I think, and he was first team all NBA last year, so you kind of.
Which he should not have been.
Why?
No, because his team didn't make the
playoffs. Chill. We are from Jersey, Chill. You better not say that.
Okay, now you guys, and I can't believe I'm hearing this. I can't believe I'm hearing this from you and you. When you first, especially as a guard, when you're first team all NBA. Winning means something. That means that you're the best guard in the game. Mm-hmm. That means you're in the conversation as the best guard in the game. We're talking about you like we're talking about Bryant, like we're talking about Jordan, like we're talking about Drexler. These are the guys that are first team
right
All-NBA.
now. Who are
no, Tone.
Right now, who are 5 better guards in SGA?
5 better guards
Yeah.
in SGA. Okay, let's see. Curry, Luka, guards. Curry, Luka. Let's see. De'Aaron Fox.
Exactly.
No, I'm not done. Curry, Luka, De'Aaron Fox, Trae Young.
No.
Keep going.
Shit, I think SJ has the worst team out of all of them as well. He's just producing more.
The worst team Trae Young has?
I think SGA he's like going beyond what we're used to. So we say OKC is a great team, but I think that's because what he's doing. Jalen Williams is a great, like you said, a great second-year player. But he's nobody that should
100%.
Yeah, great. I think he's going to be I say an all-star at some point. I don't want to say superstar.
Yeah.
That's a big load to carry. But I think OKC, their team isn't really that great. I think SGA he's just that good.
And I won't argue that. That part I won't argue. However, when I'm thinking about a top 5 player, I'm thinking about a top 5 player who's performed in the postseason dramatically. And I haven't seen that from SGA. I can't talk about him like I talk about Luka. I can't talk about him like I talk about Embiid, I'm sorry. Like I talk about Giannis, like I talk about Joker, like I talk about Curry, like I talk about Jason Tatum. I can't talk about him like that.
Right now, we're talking about right now.
No, Tone. No.
Right now.
No. And the reason why this is why we can't do this right now thing when I'm talking about players, because the postseason matters. I can't just get rid of what these guys did.
It doesn't matter in the MVP ballot.
Actually, it doesn't matter in the MVP ballot. No, it doesn't. No, it does not matter in the MVP ballot. However, in the postseason, there's a reason why we don't talk about Joel Embiid like we talk about Giannis, like we talk about Joker. And why don't we talk about him like that?
Because he didn't get it done.
Because he didn't get it done. Right, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about right now in the regular season.
And right now, Joel Embiid is not a top 5 player in the NBA. No, he ain't. No, he's not.
Joel Embiid either?
Holy crap.
Think about this. Think about this for a second. When you saw Joel Embiid, what you saw Joel Embiid do last year in the playoffs, because this is what we go off, by the way. We go off what we're prognosticating the next season. Who is going to be the league MVP? We're basing that on what we saw the year before. Okay, I think this guy is going to be this. I think this guy is going to be that. Joel Embiid, from what we've seen over the course of the last 3-4 years, is great in the regular season. When you are in the postseason, that elevates who you are.
So who are your top 5 right now in the NBA?
Joker, Giannis, Luka, Curry, Tatum.
Wow. Yo, I can't even hear you. What's going on now, but I just saw Fluent's face.
What has Tatum done in the postseason?
Yes,
Took his team to the Eastern Conference Championship. Beat Joel Embiid, by the way. Not once. Beat him twice. Not only beat him twice, also took his team to the NBA Finals. The best player on the best team in the NBA, leading the league and leading his team in scoring and rebounding. Joel Embiid, on the other hand, consistently bounced. The postseason matters when we're talking about top 5 players. I'm not going off of this narrative of what you're doing right now. I'm not doing that. I will not do that. But no way.
Does their teams not affect how far they go in the playoffs?
He had a 20-10 guy with him last year, Tone. Don't do that. He had a 20-10 guy with him last year. Who led the league in assists. 20-10 guy. It wasn't like it was just him and a bunch of okay guys. James Harden. And on top of James Harden, he also had
James Harden in the playoffs all the time. Don't do basketball. Don't do basketball.
I'm glad you brought that up, Tone, because he also had the guy that he's got now, who's a 26-8 guy. He was on the crew last year too, who was a 20-a-game guy.
But they
had him on the crew last year.
Maxey?
Yes.
And who did Tatum have?
Let's see. Tatum
Jaylen Brown, who's better than both those guys.
And guess what? Just because I'm running with a guy that's better than both of these guys, that doesn't mean that this guy has to. I still got to do my job too. Add that to the fact that Joe.
We're gonna. You can hang out for a bit. I'm gonna just bring in because there's a couple people waiting. So
yeah, no doubt. I'll chill it back.
Hang out. All right. Save me, Leaf.
You know what? I didn't even want to bring this up, but like Joel Embiid not being top 5, like come on now, like that's unexcusable. Like we all know, bro. Like when it comes to to
The
Jokic,
MVP. He's gonna be a 2-time MVP. Isn't top 5.
which is crazy. I guess this is the same thing we said, man, before the Nuggets championship last year, man. That Joker was a top 5 somehow, but he
No,
was.
we didn't. That ain't even close to the same thing. No, it ain't.
I mean, all right. Well,
No,
no,
it
we
ain't.
did. So, well, why?
No, it ain't.
So why are we saying it to Joel then?
Because actually Joker took his team to the Western Conference Championship. How about Joker?
Okay, so we going off of what, the last 5 years? That's what we
Yes, you being a top 5 player, what you do in the postseason matters.
So okay, all right. So Luka been to the conference finals. So
No,
we
but he had Jalen Brunson, so it doesn't count because Jalen Brunson's better than James Harden. Played better in the playoffs than James.
So we throwing Trey Young in there too. He been in the conference finals too. We throwing him in there.
Yes, he has been to the conference finals. Absolutely, he
So
has.
are we throwing him in the top 5 conversation? Right, that's what we doing.
I think Tony and I just had this conversation. We throwing him in there as one of the top 5 guards.
Looking at the way that Steph is playing right now, and going back to last year, bro. Like, we still throwing him in the top 5 conversation for whatever reason possible. That's what we doing, bro. I mean, listen, I guess the criteria is the criteria, man. It's promoted, produced, and written by Chilltown. But that's not why I came up here.
That's vicious. That's weird.
This is an absolute shit show, and now I came up here and I got to do something that I don't like doing. I got to give credit to Chilltown because he told me, but listen, before the season, that Ben Simmons is the lead guard, and he told me that he is the Rome defender. We don't have it. We don't have it now, and these last 10 games proves that we don't have it, and we need it, man. Dinwiddie is not a lead guard. He brings up the ball at molasses speed, and he's doing whatever with it, man. And then he's dribbling out at least 7 to 8 seconds off the shot clock, and then we got to make something out of nothing. Cam Thomas is literally, like you called it, is being scrutinized. He's being put in positions where he got to turn water into wine, and he can't do it. Now he back on the bench. You know what I'm saying? So you called that as well. And so you it's a lot of things that you call. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was telling you how Claxton belongs at the 4. We can't do it because we don't trust nobody else at the 5 but him. Yesterday, man, what him and whatchamacallit, him and Davon combined for 9 fouls against Sangoon, who had 30 and 33 minutes. This is an absolute trash shit show. Hold on, let me put my camera on for this. This is an absolute. Hold, no, don't laugh. This is an absolute.
This is why I'm laughing, Lee, because you came to me in September and you said to me, we gonna hit and they ain't gonna see it coming. You said that to me.
Yeah, I did. You know what? And I did say that. And for some reason I said that thinking that we had a solid backup plan when Ben Simmons decided to play 10 or less games and decided that his back was hurting, man, for whatever reason. So whatever the case is. And by the way, a side note, don't ask me to be objective when it comes to the Knicks, because I'm not doing it. I fight with them fan base too much. I'm never doing it. No, don't ask me to do it ever again. That's disrespectful to everything I stand for, man. Don't ever ask me to do it. So the thing is,
do you agree with this? Do you agree with this?
If your best player is small,
I ain't even hear the whole thing, but
if your best player is small, you're not winning the NBA championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah. Well, I wouldn't. It depends on what else is put around him. And
he's your best player, though, Lee.
No,
he's not. He's not a good player.
Who we talking about?
This is about Jalen Brunson.
Jalen Brunson. I was just.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna get to this. Thank you, Fluent, for asking me. Listen. Like I said, I'm not being objective when it comes to the Knicks. So this is gonna come out how it's gonna come out.
It's okay. It's okay. You can't stand the Knicks. It's all right.
No. It's not even that. They fan base is running their mouth now because they won one goddamn playoff series against the Cavs, and they mouthing off and they running at the lip like they did something. That's why.
The best team in New York.
You know what I'm talking about, Chill.
The best team in New York.
No, don't laugh.
The best team in New York is still the Buffalo Braves. So, all right, state of New York. Last thought.
I go with the Liberty. I go with the Liberty.
It's Liberty. That's
I go with the
Liberty, right? Yeah.
I go with the Liberty, but don't laugh because
you
know how they fan base get. You heard this Knicks tape BS 10 years ago when they had Melo and they won
I'm
one
gonna
playoff
bring you
series
back.
and they got walked down by Roy Hibbert. You heard it. And now I'm hearing the same garbage 10 years later. Get out my face. Y'all traded OG Anunoby, man, for your best, for one of your highest ceilings in RJ Barrett and quickly, who is your best bench play for the second year in a row, just so you can get OG Anunoby, who you gotta pay after this year. You dumbasses. So don't miss me with all that BS about how Jalen Brunson could lead your team to a championship. How many injuries got to happen before he leads your team to that championship? Let me know, because there's a lot of luck that goes into it. The Golden State Warriors already got 4 hospital rings. It's the last time I checked. So I'm not being objective when it comes to them. No.
Blue Bolt Sports is up next. You'll have more time. Don't go nowhere. I want to give everybody a shot. Blue Bolt.
What's going on, fellas? What's going on, man? I know Chilltown too. I've been on this panel for a minute. He knows who I am and everything.
That is who I am and everything. If I ever heard one.
Great, ain't it? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And people bag on me about it, man. You know what I mean? I'll be floating around you too, man. I mean, I'm like little discreet. I'll be floating around you too. Let me check you guys out on the low. But a couple of things, man. Questions about the Lakers and the Bucks. Like, who do you expect to, we know the Lakers situation, all that stuff, what's going on. I know, Fluent, you're a Lakers fan and all that good stuff and everything. But, first and foremost, like, who are you putting the blame on with this situation? Who's the guy that's got to take responsibility for this, slump, and can they get out of it somehow, some way? And with the Bucks, they got championship aspirations. What can they do with their defense, man, to improve that, to at least give them a shot to get to the championship, get to the finals? This is like a 2-part question, man.
So I'll take the Lakers.
I can't hear you, Blue, because the background noise in the back.
Hold on. What about now?
You good?
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say I'll take the Lakers piece because I'm not gonna. I know you're waiting for me to blame LeBron. I'm not blaming LeBron. I'm not even gonna blame AD. I'm not gonna even blame AD. I said this last year, right, when they made all those trades and number 1 defense in the second half of the season and went to the Western Conference Finals. For us, that like taking the fandom away for a second, it wasn't a well-constructed team. D'Lo, Reeves, like it's not. So what's going to end up happening, and unfortunate, it's always what happens, is you'll see right before the trade deadline, they'll make 3 or 4 moves. It'll inspire them to play great. They'll have another nice run in the playoffs. They'll falter and lose. And then it'll be like, don't worry, next year. Once they have a full off season together, next year.
Right.
The only thing that can fix this is if they trade AD and they trade D'Lo and they construct a team around an aging superstar, which I don't think they want to do. And I don't blame them. He's 39 now? He just turned 39. And
he comes off the books after this year too, Tom, by the way.
And I don't think, like I said, what can fix them short term is the same thing they did last year. Bring in 3 or 4 guys, make a couple trades, get rid of D'Lo.
I keep hearing they knee deep in Zach LaVine, but with all the contracts that's tied up, I don't know how they get Zach LaVine.
I don't think you want Zach LaVine. I think the Bulls win way more games when he's out of the lineup.
Right. And what I'm saying is, it's like, I don't think Zach LaVine moves the needle for them, even if they do get him. But, am I right about that?
No, yeah, I think it makes them worse.
So
you've had to move Braun to the point,
which is good.
But he's coming off the worst game that he's played in.
But the thing is, though, this is in 2020 no more. It's 2024. He's 4 years older. So he's taking a lot of energy out of this dude for him to play the point, do everything else, and then facilitate the offense.
You're going to need to bring in a point who's okay playing off ball, right? Because James is still ball dominant. You're going to need to bring 5 so that Davis can move to the 4 where he's more comfortable. And it has to be a like they had when they won their chip. If you remember, JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard were rotating in at the 5, and they were doing all the dirty work so that AD could kind of free flow and do his thing. That's when they're at their best. So unless they somehow do that, I don't know.
Number one mistake they made is blowing up that 2020 team. In my estimation, my opinion, because if they had kept them, made some minor tweaks, they'd have one more chip.
And
what do you think?
I'll say the other thing. Yeah, I agree with you. And I'll say the other thing is that there's a lot of bad, at least we're hearing, the locker room, right? Which comes down to
I believe it. I believe it because as much, I'm all for brothers getting their work, but Darvin Ham, from what I've seen, what I observed, is still kind of a novice at this thing, man.
From the LeBron hater side, I'm going to ask this question, though. I'm going to ask this.
Okay.
I'm not a LeBron hater, but I said for the LeBron
Yes,
hater.
you are. Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. Right here on my wall. Yeah, don't.
That's because his son bought that. That's the only reason why it's there. It's not because he put that there. It's because his son bought that. So don't let that fool you. Keep going.
So let it fool you. Okay. At what point do we start saying every time it's always the teammates, the roster construction, and the coach? Every single place we've ever been with LeBron, at some point it becomes the teammates, the roster construction, and the coach, and they all got to go. If you go into a different situation, it's always the same outcome. At some point, someone's going to tell you, look in the mirror.
And
all I'm asking is there something he could do different?
When you go into a different situation and it's the same outcome, which is winning, obviously that works.
And then after winning, what happens? The roster, the teammates, the coach.
I'm not certain it's that. I just think certain players fit LeBron's certain style because not everybody can play with everybody. You know what I mean? Not everybody is constructed to play with everybody. You know.
Right.
So that's like, for me, it's kind of an unfair rep that LeBron gets, but at the same time, I don't know if there's some truth to that. But then again, he's won 4 championships, so you can't really say that it's detrimental to the teams he go to. You understand?
I still feel he should have won some more, but don't go anywhere, Blue Bolt, because we got big. I'll tell you the order: Big Fan Breezy, Cam Killer Cam, and then Big Ox is joining us. So stick around. Just give me 1 sec. Here we go. Big Fan Breezy.
Shout out to Brooklyn in the house.
The Nets.
Yeah, eloquently said by my guy Leaf. I heard everything he said. Shout out to Leaf. So I won't say what he said, obviously, right? It's a pleasure to be here. I ain't see you guys in a minute. Happy New Year, you know what I'm saying? Word, man. But y'all guys is talking about building blocks, right?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
And you know what I'm saying? And I really do be trying to chill without being the villain. You know what I'm saying? I'll be coming here and I say, chilling like I'm trying to chill and not trying to be the villain. And yo, he was so right. It is so hard not to be the villain out here, Oh man. But what I wanted to say about building blocks to the show, I noticed that coaches implement defense, and that's what one of the best building blocks is when you building a culture for a team. You see it in examples of Mike Brown, Ime Udoka, Willie Green when he won the Coach of the Year. I wish I seen it in Jacques Vaughn. Now, I'm only saying that to say, coach-wise, that's the significant difference in why a team gets better as far as building blocks. So I'm kind of asking y'all, far as building blocks is concerned, a coach implementing the defensive side, like a defensive style of play. Like Ime Udoka, we just played the Houston Rockets, and the whole thing with he was the assistant coach and JV got the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? We ranked 20th in defense, and Ime, they in the Houston Rockets, they ranked 3rd in the league. So I think that's the significant difference. They don't have a bunch of offensive weapons like that, and when you look at their rankings, they like 16th to 20th in the league, something like that. You feel what I'm saying? So I just think that's where we missed that. We got defensive players on our team, but Jacques Vaughn is not. I think he has to do better with defensive schemes. So how y'all feel about that?
Absolutely, yo. And when you add guys like Dylan Brooks to that lineup, when you add Jabari Smith to that lineup in Houston, that makes it a lot less difficult to coach defense because you already have that implemented there. When you have that with your crew, with Ben Simmons, with Mikal Bridges, with Claxton, if Ben Simmons can stay healthy and you got the kind of coach that can implement a scheme that can make you guys viable defensively, there's plenty of great teams that have hung their hat on defense. Plenty of great teams that have hung their hat on defense. But the question is can we get the most out of these guys? I understand that Jacques Vaughn is the consummate floor leader. And he wants a guy to play on both sides of the basketball. That's why he doesn't really value Cam Thomas that much. And I think the game is passing him by because of that. Because the game is more of a specialist today than it is the complete player. When you don't use your specialist, you're missing out. Cam Thomas is a specialist. He's a bucket getter. That's what he is. And in the process of him being a bucket getter, the guys behind him who are defenders supplement what he doesn't do. Kind of like other great players who did, like James Harden. Like he had Clint Capella, right? He had who am I thinking about that played with Kobe Bryant? Trevor Ariza. That's what he had. He had guys like that to supplement what he's doing. So I think that you actually have the ingredients. You might have the wrong chef in the kitchen.
And so I'm gonna stick with that because you asked about defense, and it's something that I keep telling people, and they don't always listen, but I keep telling people the sum of the parts are greater sometimes than the individuals. So they might not have, and in this case they do, but in some cases you see teams that don't have individual great defenders, and you might wonder, well, how are they good defensively? To your point, it's about scheme, it's about the buy-in, it's about the way that they defend as a team. That's why there are teams, right, that you're like, there's no superstars on that team. Why are they good? Well, because it's a team, and they play better as a team than any one individual. And that's why I've said to you a million times, Jay, you put superstars on a team, it doesn't we got to
I'm sorry. Focus. Hey, little bit, you're screwing up your uncle. Stop. I'm out of focus. I'm working over here with your father.
Mini Fluent and Fluent Jr. in the building. No, she's getting ready. She has, she does competitive dance, and she always got to be practicing.
As you were saying, Tom.
As I was saying. So it's something that people often forget is that you can take 3 superstars and build a team, and I can take a team, and my team sometimes, more often than not, will beat those 3 superstars. So I think that's, to your point, why I agree with what you're saying about Jacques Vaughn. He doesn't necessarily have to be replaced, but he definitely has to put in a defensive system that they buy into, that they can run, and they will be better. And if they get better defensively as a unit, and maybe this is what the Bucks need too. We didn't answer that question for Blue Bolt, but that might be the answer for the Bucks as well as the Nets.
No, they don't have personnel.
Well, hey, that's why I said you need to make a trade. I think Beasley and a piece need to go for another perimeter defender. But that's what I'm saying is that there can be a scheme that makes them better. Will it make them elite? I'm not saying that, but they can be better defensively as a unit. With that being said, I'm gonna let you down for a second. I'm gonna bring in Cam Killer Cam, and then I'm gonna bring everybody up just to kind of end things. So give me 1 second here. Big fan. Cam Killer Cam.
What up?
Building.
What's good?
What up?
You didn't believe we were live, or what's up?
Let me explain that real quick. So
please,
on YouTube, in your subscription tab, it shows you the YouTube channels that are going live. So I was watching Fluence live, and I didn't see you, OG. I didn't see your account. So I thought this was the only channel you guys were going live on. So when you guys are like answering chats, and I see the super chats pop up, I was confused because I'm like, I'm looking at the chat in Fluence live. I'm not seeing none of these people or none of the comments or being able to super chat. Yes. So then I went and like actually searched up your
platforms. I got very technical. We're live on 3 different platforms.
Yeah, I went and like actually manually searched up Chilltown's YouTube. Then I seen you guys were live over there. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So what's going on?
So my first question is, do you guys feel like Brandon Ayuk should have made the Pro Bowl over Puka Nacua?
Sorry, say that again.
So do you feel like Brandon Ayuk should have made the Pro Bowl over Puka Nacua?
I definitely think Brandon Ayuk should have made the Pro Bowl, 100%.
No, you're a 49ers fan.
I am a 49er fan. That's why. So I'm a front runner when it comes to that.
I think.
Yes.
So are you? Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm
a front runner when it comes to the Niners. I think he should have made the Pro Bowl. Yes,
I'll defend the Rams because I think when Cooper Kupp got hurt, everyone was out on the Rams, and they thought that's it, they're done. And he stepped up and played phenomenal. And I think with Ayuk, he's also benefiting. Not that everybody does, but he's also benefiting from having Debo and McCaffrey and some other pieces there that make his life easier. So I think that's why the voters went Puka over Ayuk.
So sick of hearing this logic, Cam, that it's a bad thing that I got great players around me. Just because I got great players around me does not mean that I'm going to perform great. We've had teams we saw the Pittsburgh Steelers when they put that bomb squad together. And what happened? It was garbage. When they put that bomb squad together in 2011, we've seen that. Tone.
You're a number one receiver. Let me just ask you this: if you're the number one receiver on the team, do you get more defensive attention than if you're the number 3?
Yes, you got to. You're dealing with the number one. You're dealing with the number one cornerback. When you're the number one, you're dealing with the number one cornerback.
So if it's close, and I think we agree it's close,
right?
You know that Puka goes getting tougher defensive matchups. So when it's close, it goes to the guy that had that. That's all. And this is not knocking anything from Ayuk. I think he's had a great season. And hey, let's see what he does in the playoffs because that's what matters, right?
My other question is, me and my friends were talking about this. If the NFL did like 2 expansion teams, what cities do you think? Because my vote, I was saying maybe Portland, and then selfishly, because I live here, I was going to say Sacramento. But we was talking about like it's not really nowhere to put an NFL stadium in Sacramento.
We don't need expansion in the NFL. We got plenty of teams in the NFL, plenty, and you do not need a team in Portland because there's already a team in Seattle, so you're straight over there. And you definitely don't need a team in Sacramento because you got a team in San Francisco that's damn good.
You know, I will say there's one city I wouldn't mind seeing. I'm not gonna say Toronto, although I would love a team in Toronto. I would love a team in Toronto. I miss having a team. I miss having a team in St. Louis.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Does LA need 2 teams?
Do they need 2 teams? Do they have 2? They only got 1. They only got the Chargers.
No, the Rams and the Chargers. Yeah, the Rams and the Chargers. No, I think that stadium. Do you know something crazy about that stadium? Do you know that it's leaking water? SoFi.
No, I didn't know that.
And they have polished concrete as a floor that's leaking where the water's leaking, and if you go walk on it, you'll like slip and break your neck. They've had a bunch of lawsuits already for a brand new multi-billion-dollar facility.
Somebody is so fired. There's a difference between being fired, Tony, being so fired. Somebody is so fired.
Yeah. But yeah, I think other than St. Louis, I think in fact the NFL probably should contract. There's a couple of teams that shouldn't be in the NFL, but
Cam, you don't care about what's going on in Tennessee except for Derrick Henry. You don't care about that crew. You don't.
I had D-Hop in fantasy, so
give me a break. You don't care about what's going on down there.
Yeah,
you couldn't care
not really.
Fantasy, you do not. Yeah, it's
the only reason why you watch them is because they got Derrick Henry. That's it. You don't care about what's going on in Tennessee.
I just fun fact. About 5 years ago, Tennessee was rumored to be moving to Toronto, and there was an ownership group that was trying to do that, and the NFL, the CFL, and the Bills collectively put a stop to it because at the time the CFL and NFL had an agreement, and they couldn't do it because one, if you bring an NFL team, I'll selfishly talk about Toronto quickly. If you bring an NFL team to Toronto, it kills the Bills because 50% of the Bills season ticket holders are from Toronto or from Canada, because it's an hour from where I live, so it just makes a lot of sense. 2, it would kill the Toronto Argos, who are already on the verge of death, which is the CFL team, because no one watches the CFL in Toronto. And so they're like, we can't do it. That deal with the CFL and NFL is now over. The CFL had a deal with the XFL for a minute, but now the XFL, I don't know if you saw, with the UCFL have merged to become the UFL. So that deal's off the table, but it would still kill Buffalo. So, yeah, that's not going to happen. But yeah, so Seattle's probably my only answer. Yeah.
Good to talk to you, Killer Cam. All right, brother.
Are you going to stick around? Are you going to stick around? I'm going to bring everybody up quickly.
All right.
We can go late.
And Irv, just so you know, Irv, you already got a pro football team in Alabama. They called the Crimson Tide. So kill it. You don't need an NFL team down there. You already got a pro football team.
You do have a team that.
And he just called the Crimson Side of pro football.
Listen, there's probably more pro players on Alabama.
You already got a pro football team down there. You good?
Chilltown, that's a good one. I ain't gonna.
I'm gonna run a list. I'm gonna run down a list for you. Right now, if it was only on fan voting, first returns, your starting all-star team would be, and what I want to know is who shouldn't be there and who should be there, if anybody. So right now in the West, your starting lineup would be LeBron, Durant, Jokic, Doncic, and Curry. That would be your starting five. In the East, Giannis, Embiid, Tatum, Embiid, who's not top five, by the way, Tatum, Halliburton, and Damian Lillard. Is there anyone that surprises you that are on the starting five for either East or West, or someone that absolutely? My immediate one is SGA.
Yeah,
that's what I thought it was.
What about Anthony Edwards? Edwards.
That's what I was about to say. I was about to go with Ant.
Yeah, me too.
Ant is awesome. Ant, I'm going to tell you right now, Ant is going to have to be picked by the coaches because he is 6th among guards in voting.
I thought
he was a small forward. He's not a small forward. He was top 3. Wait a minute, I thought it was top 3.
Yeah, SGA.
Thought it was top 3. Thought it was top 3.
SGA and Curry. That's why I had.
SGA and Steph. Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry, SGA and Luka. That's why I had. And then the East I had Halliburton and Mitchell.
Okay, so let's go around. Pick one. So Jay, you got SGA over Steph?
I got SGA over I had Luka and SGA. Yeah, so I had him over Steph.
That would mean SGA over Steph. Cam, is there anyone on East or West that you think deserves to be in there?
I've seen a lot of people saying that Brunson deserves it over Dame.
No,
but yeah, I don't agree with that one either. I'm not gonna lie.
No. He don't go, but Brunson don't go before Donovan Mitchell, and that's who I got in the East.
You got Donovan Mitchell over Dame?
Yep.
Yeah,
I got Donovan Mitchell over Dame.
I'll probably go Shea over Curry too, as much as it pains me to say.
I think the East is fine. So again, the East is Giannis, Embiid, Tatum, Halliburton, and Lillard. I think that's fine. I think okay.
Wait a minute. What's up with Tatum? Tatum over Halliburton over Tatum? Tatum?
No.
Well, Tatum is in.
No, I'm just saying the five that would be starters based on the voters' first returns would be Giannis, Tatum, and
okay.
Giannis, Tatum, and
they got Giannis. They got Giannis at power 4 at the 4. Okay.
It's basically the three front court. The three front court are Giannis, Embiid, Tatum, and the backcourt is Halliburton and Lillard.
And in the East, Home,
that sounds about right.
Who's the third guard in the East, Home?
Trae Young.
Wait a
minute. Speaking about Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Buckets. What about Jimmy Butler? You don't think so?
You know,
Chilltown. I'm going with your first pick. I'm going with Spider.
That's what I think is.
You just made the list.
Look. This might be off the wall, but
Jimmy Butler. Just so you know, Jimmy Butler is listed as a front court player, and he's 4th, right behind Tatum in voting.
Okay. I thought that's different. That's different, man.
Where's Jaylen Brown at? Where's he listed at?
Hold on one sec, just quickly. Jaylen Brown is 5th on the front court. 760. No, he's still. Wow, Jimmy Butler.
I thought Jaylen Brown was on the backcourt.
He doesn't have. No, he's.
I think KD should be replaced by Anthony Davis. It'd be an ugly lineup, but I think AD has produced way more than Kevin Durant has.
You know what?
Yeah, I give you that.
You know what? I was thinking about. You know what? Anthony Davis been balling, man. I can't front. I mean, I'm not.
Games, I've been seeing him show up way more.
He's gonna make the All-Star team. He just ain't starting it. He's gonna make the All-Star team.
Nobody picking Kawhi over KD.
Now Kawhi
over
that much.
KD.
He was off for a minute.
Kawhi has played a lot of games.
Not enough games.
Kawhi has played a lot of games.
He's played a lot of games.
He missed? How many games he missed so far?
I think he's only missed like 6 games or something like that.
He only missed like 6 games. Yeah, Kawhi played a lot of games, man. So I ain't gonna dog Kawhi.
Is it just me, or every time you guys hear Blue Bowl talk, do you hear this?
Acknowledge me.
I just feel like.
Oh man,
I feel like he about to cut a promo his damn self. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Leonard's only missed 4 games. That's it.
See, there you go. Only 4 games. I didn't think he missed that many.
Oh yeah, so all right, yeah, Kawhi with KD then. We doing that.
Yeah. KD can get up off there for anybody, really.
Yeah, KD's a fraud.
Get KD off the crew. Bye, KD. Out.
See ya.
I ain't even calling them by that,
you know
man.
what?
Listen,
You know
it's always
what?
F Kevin Durant on this side, bro. Like, so
I didn't say all
You
that.
know what? You know what? You know what? I even think about that, man. I even think about that.
Like you from
Brooklyn Nets, right? Brooklyn Nets, right?
Brooklyn Nets.
You know how it is in
If you
I
know,
see,
you
I
know, bro.
see
Like,
it.
you, listen, I don't gotta explain nothing.
Brooklyn dude, so you know he ain't a Jersey dude. You know we get over him quick in Jersey.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
We get over him.
Chilltown,
Brooklyn,
you live in Florida. You get over them because the team moved. Get out of here. Stop laughing, bro. Like, it ain't funny.
Shut your damn mouth.
I love this.
You got over them because the team moved 10, 12 years ago. That's why. Get out of here.
Hey, fellas, it was great to see you dudes tonight, man. I appreciate you.
All right, man.
Of course, man.
All right,
Happy
y'all.
New
Salute.
Year. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to y'all, man.
Everybody, for
All
those
right,
that are
y'all.
for those that are
See
still
something
here,
later, Chill. I'm going live a little bit later with these trades, man.
we are back here. We're back here next week, one more time, and then the week after we are back on PC.
That Monday.
That
so
Monday.
next Thursday. So next
Yes.
Thursday we're here, and then that
PC.
following
Okay.
Monday.
Yo, hold up. Wait. Before I go, I had people on my channel, and I do a good play-by-play with the Nets. They was asking me about what's going on with PC because they see me over there first. I'm like, what the hell? I don't know what's going on. I hadn't
That's just some
found out.
cosmetic stuff that we handling.
No,
That's
no,
all we
it's-
do.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's just
I
a
was
new year.
like, man, yo, you gotta ask them brothers, man.
No,
But,
a
gentlemen,
little revamp. I'll let you go, and then I'll just recap it. I'll recap it later. Leaf, appreciate you.
All right, Leaf.
So Player's Choice will be back on January the 15th. So as far as Fluent and Chill goes, we are here on this channel where you're watching right now next week, and then the following week everything's back to normal, back on Player's Choice, back kind of we'll have some new cosmetics. Maybe this one will stick. I kind of like this one.
I do too.
I kind of like this one.
I'm definitely feeling
I definitely like the intro and outro. But I kind of like this. So we'll see what comes over with new PC. So we'll be back on PC in 2 weeks. So next week we're right here again. But until then, chill.
Drink water. Put on a suit. Don't drink and drive. Hey man, call your mother. Call your mother. Until then, take it light. Take it.
Now you're more fluent.